Hello, and welcome to the Education Voters of Pennsylvania School Board 101, Part 2, How and Why to Contact Your School Board Members and Attend Board Meetings training module. So before we begin, let's just talk about our goals. By the end of this training, you will be able to find the contact information for your school board members and your board secretary. You will know how to make and submit public comments at board meetings, and you will know how advocates can work with the school board and support a strong system of public schools to meet the needs of all of your students in your community. So before we get started, make sure that you have either printed or downloaded the PDF, How to Contact Your School Board Members and Make a Public Comment, School Board Meetings, What to Expect, and School Board Member, Board Secretary, and School and Superintendent Contact Sheet. So as we discussed in the previous module, school boards enact district policies. They set the tone for the relationship between the district and the community. They approve a budget that determines class sizes and the overall resources available to students and so much more. And the decisions they make have an enormous impact on your community. It's really important for school board members to be hearing from people who care about the children in the schools, to help make sure that they're getting a balanced input from people in their community. So in addition to attending school board meetings and making public comment at board meetings, it is very helpful to be able to communicate with your board members via email, via their school email accounts. And I'm going to say at the beginning and at the end, school board members spend a lot of time volunteering. They are not paid. So make sure that when your school board members make good decisions that you have asked them to go to bat for, make sure that you thank them, because oftentimes they hear complaints, but they don't hear anything else. So let's go through, we have activity 1 for in page 1. So how to find your school board's your school district board members' contact information. So these are typically going to be on your school district website. There will be a tab of some kind that says school board. So click on that, and then you can find their emails. If you are in a school district that does not provide a district email for school board members, then you're going to have to communicate with your school board members through the school board secretary. There should be on that school board page someone who's listed as the board secretary. Find that person's email and then make sure that you have that handy for when you want to communicate with your board members outside of speaking at a public meeting. You should also, on this page on the website, learn about your school board's public comment policy. There's typically a public comment period for non-agenda items, things that they're not deliberating and voting on at some point in a meeting. And then there will also be a public comment time for agenda items, so the items that they will be voting on. The best way to see how your board handles public comment is to go on the website and look at a previous board meeting's agenda, and it should lay out public comment in different sections. So when you make a public comment at a meeting, it is placed in the public record. If you're unable to attend a board meeting, there's a conflict and you can't go, you can type up your comment, email it to the board secretary, ask them to make sure that it is distributed to the superintendent and all of the board members, and then ask also that it be placed into the public record of the meeting as a public comment. So you've found your board members, you kind of know who they are, you've looked at the public comment section and figured out how you could do that. And so now it's time to attend a meeting. School board meetings can go real fast. They do a lot of really mundane work. They're voting on contracts and things like that, a lot of stuff that's not going to be very familiar to you. So I really highly recommend that you, before attending the meeting, print out the agenda and take it with you so that as they're moving through the agenda, you can check off where you are and you can kind of see what's happening as you're going through the meeting. You may or may not want to make a public comment. That's your choice. You do not have to make any kind of public comment unless there is a reason to make it. So people are busy, and it is a lot for a single person to go to every school board meeting to keep track of what is happening. So we most highly recommend that people get a group of parents, concerned parents together, and that you divvy up the meetings, like come up with a calendar, and some people can go on certain dates and others can go on different dates. Whoever goes to the meeting can take notes and report back, and or multiple people can go together so that you're not there completely by yourself, but that you've got someone else there to support you. And again, if you can't attend the meeting, but you would like to make sure that your school board members understand your opinion about an issue, you can email the board secretary or email the individual board members with your public comment before the meeting so that they know what your opinion is on an issue. So what to expect? School boards typically have regular meetings twice a month where they will discuss issues, have a long agenda, and they will vote on different issues. That varies. Maybe they have one meeting where they don't vote and it's a work session and then they only vote once a month. You'll just have to figure that out with your own district. They do follow parliamentary procedure. So you'll get used to it when you go, but they have items that are just for discussion, and then they have items that they will vote on. And the board president will ask someone to make a motion to vote on an item. If someone seconds that motion, then it opens up the floor to the board members themselves to discuss the item before the vote. Community members are not allowed to discuss these items during the time when it is board member comment time, when the motion is on the floor and it's open. Your comment time will be separate and before this actual vote is taking place. So don't be surprised by that the discussion around the agenda item at that moment is just going to be for the board members. Your time, public comment is before that. So again, a lot of what they do is they are voting on hiring people, on approving contracts, on approving policies. A lot of it's pretty mundane and pretty boring. So just be prepared for a lot of that when you go to a board meeting. School boards have some things that they have to do. We have a law called the Sunshine Act. So school boards are required to allow the public to attend their meetings. They are required to post their meeting agendas online 24 hours before the meeting starts so that the community can understand what the board will be discussing and voting on. And they are allowed to deliberate on matters in the agenda, not in the agenda, only under specific circumstances. And in a well-run board should not be having someone make a motion on the floor for something that's not on the agenda and then approving anything that is very, very consequential that has not been put on the agenda. If your board is doing that, that's like not a good practice. It may or may not be a violation of the Sunshine Law, but if you have a well-run board, you should be able to know what they're going to discuss and vote on 24 hours before they have a meeting. The boards may accept public comments at the beginning of the meeting on agenda items so that before they vote, they have given people an opportunity to talk. I don't know that that's a requirement, but that is what typically school boards do. School boards are allowed to set comment time limits for people. So, they might say you have 3 minutes to make your comments. So if you are going to make a comment, it's a good idea to write it up beforehand and practice so that you can make sure that you are able to get across your point efficiently and effectively within the time limit. They are also, most boards typically allow public comment on non-agenda items at the end of the meeting. And most boards are going to ask people to state their name and where they live, just to make sure that the people who are commenting at the meetings are actual district residents and not people who are from all other different places. So, we did a little handout here that you could print out. You could do however you want, but if you'd like to print this out, so that you can have the emails and the phone number, the emails of your board members and your board secretary and your superintendent handy, and then also the phone number for your district office, just in case you need it. You can just, one thing that's easy to do is just set up in your email, like copy all the board members into an email, and then you just have it there, you can copy paste. I always include the superintendent on emails that I'm sending to board members. Superintendent is like the 10th member of the board, that they should be all working together and moving in the same direction. So it's nice to keep your superintendent kind of apprised of what you are sharing with board members. And we've seen a lot of school boards where they are overwhelmed by people with one certain point of view and one certain agenda. And I can say that having experience talking to people with boards all over the state, when you come to a board meeting with a point of view that is perhaps different than kind of like a majority of people, so if we're talking about like the anti-mask issue or, other issues that people are bringing in, they're kind of like coming in really strong and hard. It is really hard to overestimate how important it is to have a counterbalance to that message if that is what's important to you, and that your public comments are heard and they are noted and they will be understood by many people in your community who might feel the same way that you do. So we really encourage people to, invest time in your school board and invest time in going to school board meetings and making sure that board members are hearing from people who care about public education and care about ensuring that school boards are going to make decisions that are in the best interest of all children. And again, if your school board members make good decisions, please make sure to thank them. I was a school board member for 4 years and I got hundreds of grapey, nasty emails, went to the grocery store. I couldn't go grocery shopping unless it was a Sunday morning because people were constantly wanting to complain at me and talk about things. And then every once in a while, there would just be this like bright little shining like jewel in my email box where someone would have said thank you. Those little thank yous go a very, very long way. School board members, it's not an easy volunteer job. So make sure that you thank them. And thank you for attending this module. We are very excited to have you be part of this, and just are delighted to have you go on to do the next modules and be part of this whole experience with us at EdVoters. Hope you can be strong advocates, and want to say thank you very much.